Hello there guys, hope we're all doing well. Captain Shandy here at your service. As I say, I hope you're good. Just going into a quick race today, a race in Australia. I know we've seen one there recently, but it's what came up. And unfortunately, I'm afraid guys, just the one video today as we go into qualifying, due to the fact that I have things to do this afternoon, and most notably I have to go and look after my little brothers and take them to play football down the field to keep my mother off my back. So just a quick race, and elsewhere on the channel you'll see a game of Pez as well if you're interested, and they'll be the only two videos that I'm able to upload today. But as you can see, we are into qualifying here at Australia as we take the first sector fairly well. No idea what the quality is like in the lobby. That was my first and, as I say, only race of the day, so be interesting to see where we can get to on the grid as we've come in through the second sector and we lose somebody to a retirement fairly well so far. It's been quite a clean lap, no spectaculars but no real mistakes either, so fairly happy with the lap so far as we come in towards the final sector and take the right hander on the way out. And it's still decent, we're a little bit wide there, but we're going to the final couple of corners. We just come off the power back onto it. For the fucking love of Jesus Christ and God and all that's holy, fucking invalidated laps, mate. The bane of my life on this game. I mean, again, that's another corner where I never once got caught out on 2019. If ever you went wide there, again, if you came off the curb and you dipped a wheel into the gravel, that was your punishment, and up to that point you could use all of the curb, but apparently not on this game. I don't know if anybody else has ever been caught on the last game at that corner, but nevertheless it has caught us out today, so we do know that for the future it's important that we learn from our mistakes. That certainly was a mistake, and I will try my best not to make it again. No promises, of course, because like everything else in life, I have a habit of repeating the same errors on Formula 1, so fingers crossed, but no promises being made. As we tick down, we're in 8th position. It's not too bad, fairly high at the disqualified qualifiers, so 8th, middle of the pack, can be a bit treacherous having, as I say, people behind you and in front on the grid. But if a couple of people in front of me take themselves out as they're on their way around the first few bends, then before you know it we could be up into a decent position. So there's good and bad elements to starting in the middle of the pack. Depends basically on what occurs in the first couple of corners. There's so much we saw in the last race, well, not the last race, but one of the last races at Vietnam. Despite starting on pole, we were instantly pushed down to third and had to work hard to go and get the win there. So nothing is ever set in stone. It doesn't really matter where you start on the grid. You could win or lose any race. As we go 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights, and we are off. A little bit of a delay, not too much this time, as we come down towards the first corner, in behind a random XY, and we go diving down the inside, and there's a man sideways in front of us, and we just manage to swerve round the car. I don't know why I keep referring to cars as men. Maybe it's just the ones that are behaving erratically and are possible threats, but we have just had to ease off and get in behind Werlo GM as we're under pressure as well from behind from Sprayners, who takes the inside. We entered that corner far too late, and then by the time I'd gone so wide I just thought I'd let him through as I'd made too much of a mistake to recover from, and we've done the same there. Really poor stuff from my perspective, just all over the place, not really under any particular pressure, and yet we make a huge error. So we come through the S's. Looks like somebody's had a bit of an accident through there as we saw some debris on the track, but we're just going to settle in and try and make sure that we can stay with Houston 8. As this does seem like a fairly quick lobby. Granted, I haven't used much of my ARS, maybe the cars in front have used a fair bit, plus I made quite a lot of mistakes in that first lap, but still, we were very quick to drop down that order. and we did drop around 6 places. We did manage to get up into 4th out of the first couple of turns, I think it was. So finding ourselves back in 10th position now, dropping down the order as we've got a car in front of us, Stan French, but fortunately it was ghosted. He set himself to the track by the looks of things, and as you can see, although we have some clean air, the cars in front are bunched up together, so that means they will start to fight, they will lose time. It's important at this stage that I find some consistency and some rhythm to continue my momentum around the track and just take the race in line and try and be as smooth and as quick as possible in order to catch up with this fighting pack ahead and get ourselves into a more respectable position at the 9th out of 12th as we come out of the bend and almost touch the wall but narrowly avoid it, fully on the throttle into the S's, just a little lift off halfway through, and still we run a bit wide and pick ourselves a warning for exceeding the track limits, although it does look as though we are starting to close that gap on those cars in front as Halcon, I'm not quite sure, but they've retired from the race, so there's no point in me learning how to pronounce it. I'm not going to need to say it again. As Hamilton takes the fastest lap, no surprises there. The guy is pretty quick. I don't know if you've heard of him. As we get the notification from engineer Jeff that we now have DRS available to us, and that will mean that we need to get a little bit closer to the cars in front. We're currently a second and a half off, but they're still bunched up, so there will still be an opportunity to catch up as long as we can hook up our own laps with a fair amount of consistency. We're starting to do it here. It's not too bad. Somehow we don't get a warning for going wide that time. If anything, I abused the curb even more than the previous attempt where I did pick up a warning, but hey ho, that is the consistency sometimes on this game, and it's certainly not just this game. It does apply to others as well, Gran Turismo and Forza, the penalty systems and the warning systems, etc. It's very difficult to write the algorithms, I'd imagine. I don't know too much about the process because I am a fucking idiot. As we see the cars in front still scrapping, we're actually not really gaining on them anywhere near as much as I'd like, but they have definitely slowed down this sector as they go too wide in front of us, and it's all getting a little bit hairy and a little bit tight up there, but it settles down. He cuts the corner and the man goes wide there, the car goes wide. I can't quite see who it was Warlow GM, and we push on them, and we just have to swerve out of the way of Al Mohammed 1996 as we exit the final turn and find ourselves up behind Spray Ners. That wasn't a bad little sequence of corners. That worked out pretty well for us. I think we took 3 places there all at once, so good stuff to get ourselves up into 6th place as Spray Ners pulls us around the track, and if we can get a little bit closer, then potentially we will get DRS down the straight. We are within 1 second at the moment. We've got to make sure we don't let him open up that gap anymore, and see if we can get the power down and the traction down a little bit better out of the final corner and take him on the straight or going into the first turn of the next lap. We're already into lap 4, almost at the end of lap 4, so not long left in the race. It has kind of flown by despite there being a lap or two with not an awful lot going on around us, as we have gone further away from Spray Ners. We're just dropping off him. He's now 1.3. It doesn't look like we're going to be able to get into that DRS zone for this straight, never mind being close enough to make an overtake, so we haven't gone quick enough. He's got a little bit more pace than we have. It wasn't the perfect lap from my perspective, as you can see, red sectors, but yeah, it's out of the range of possibility now. And to be fair, even if we were to close right up to Spray Ners, it's very difficult to think of anywhere where we could potentially find a place to get round him on this track unless he was to make a mistake and leave the door open. And even when you do leave the door open here at Australia, it is only a crack, so it can be very much squeaky bum time if you do go for a move, which is why it's often just easier just to sit in behind and wait for mistakes. But it doesn't look like that Spray Ners is even going to make a mistake to allow us to get close to him or within that 1 second. So just a case of making sure we do not get ourselves a silly penalty as we cut the corner. And I know we must be on the edge now, and the man behind is 2 seconds behind, so it'd only take a 3-second penalty or even a 2-second penalty and a bit of loss of pace, as we can see a car parked up on the right hand side. Eric, I think that was. We've managed to get ourselves about a second behind Spray Nares again, but it doesn't look as though we're going to be able to get close enough as we go wide again and do pick up another warning, but surely that will be our last. As you may have seen, Hamilton has crossed the line as race winner, and we will follow through Spray Nares in 5th place out of 9. So not quite halfway up the order. Not our best race, not our worst. Could have gone worse, but alas, we find ourselves in 5th place. There was 12 starters, so we are actually over halfway up the order, if you include the guys that DNF'd. So, you know, maybe the driver rating will in fact go up rather than down. Let's hope that is the case. Also worth mentioning that I was reluctant to make any contact with anybody. I really would like to see if I can get my safety rating up to A, as Spray Nares wins driver of the day. So well done to him. I couldn't catch him, so he may well deserve that if he's come from a long way back. I didn't quite clock where he started on the grid, but got himself up into 4th place. Some of these celebrations just make you look like a complete cock, don't they? I fucking would not bother with some of these proper embarrassing shit. Dad dancing at weddings bullshit, you know, right in front of your fucking friends and your cousins and that, where you just want the fucking world to open up and swallow you in. Yeah, I'll be damned if I'm getting an animation like that for me player. So we go one race until demotion, so not good. Some serious work to do on the safety rating. May well be worth seeing if we can just do some laps, stop worrying maybe about where we finish for the time being, as our driver rating is still fairly good, and maybe making sure that we keep out of the way of our fellow competitors no matter what. But yeah, a half decent race, guys. As I say, that'll be the only one today, but thank you very much for taking the time out of your day to watch that. And yeah, hopefully tomorrow, being no problems, we can put a couple of races back on for you, 2 in a row, for you guys to enjoy. But in the meantime, take it easy, guys. Stay safe.